Welcome to our Devil. Today we are taking a look at entitled parents. Our first story is from Sammy Ann Wade. My abusive ex-stepfather asked me to call the police if I knew anything, so I did. I, 29 female, lived with my mum and her new boyfriend. We'll call him a hat, when I was a child. They met when I was 10 years old. From the moment I met this man I never liked him. He gave off the most terrifying vibes, and even as a child I could instinctively tell that there was something wrong with this man. Fast forward 6 years and my mum and a hat are getting married on my birthday no less. I have 3 new siblings in that time from their marriage, and this man for the past 6 years has made my life a living hell. He was physically and verbally aggressive almost every single day to me. My mum and siblings. However, he did, and still does, have a particular dislike towards me. To this day I am still not sure why. He would exclude me from family events. Force family members to not give me presents at Christmas and birthdays. To then humiliate me on those events and make a scene of me not receiving gifts. Body shame me. I was 11 years old when he did this, mind you, and called me a slut for wearing a skirt. Spent approximately $50 of my inheritance on himself, things like mountain bikes and the like. Would hide my phone for no reason so I could not contact my father or friends or extended family. Would not let me eat the yummy food, but would sit there and eat it in front of me. Ruined the very expensive 4WD I bought my mum as an adult out of my inheritance, and once he ruined it, left it at its demise place, which was out of town in the back country down a steep slope and in a creek for me and my mum to sort out. Stolen cars and motorbikes. Started a bushfire. Tried to pin a break and enter of a friend's house in the middle of the night on my boyfriend, and that's just a snippet of the charms of this literal awful human being. I moved out of home very shortly after the wedding, and at 16 was living on my own, juggling 2 part-time jobs. Full-time school in a brand new state and a brand new city. But it was a heck-ton better than living at home. Fast forward again another 10 years. I am 26 and my mum has finally had the courage to separate from a hat with my 3 siblings after years of further abuse from a hat. He still tries and terrorizes their lives and controls them and demonstrates very threatening behavior, but at least they're out. My 3 siblings choose to stay with my mum, for obvious reasons, but still had to have visitation with their father due to custody arrangements. A hat always had a lot of resentment towards the children for this. But can you blame them? Fast forward now to present day. I have full care of the oldest of my 3 younger siblings, as she wanted to escape a hat and moved states to live with me. I fully supported this because I have always tried to help where I can. The youngest of the 3 stays with mum. The middle child. My brother was very traumatized by a hat's behavior and consequently has a lot of untreated trauma and behavior to go with it. I tried to take care of him and let him live with me and my family at one point, however he also was too violent for me to handle. A hat actively stopped my brother getting the mental health help he needed. I believe this to be that it might have held him accountable if my brother told anyone anything too incriminating. Brother moves back to my mother and youngest sister. He is also too violent for them to handle. Side note. I understand my brother's behavior is not okay either, and unfortunately a lot of it is learnt behavior. And when he has sought out help, a hat quickly stopped that. I'm hoping in the future he can hopefully and finally get the help he needs. Anyway. Last week, Sunday, brother assaulted a family member when at mum's house. Brother was escorted off the property by police and taken to a hat's house to live now. I get a message from a hat on Wednesday for the first time in years saying, "Your brother is missing. The police have been called. If you know anything, call me or the police." Instant panic sets in. I feel like a scared child again from a very benign message from this man. I sat looking at this message all night wondering what to do about it. That's when it came to me. A hat asked me to call the police if I knew anything. A hat did not specify what I had to know and tell the police. Just that if I knew anything to call them. So I did. I called the police and told them that I felt I had some very important information to tell them regarding my missing brother. I told them everything. All the abuse that had happened to me and my family at great lengths. I told them that if they return my brother when they find him to a hat's house, that they will be putting him in direct danger. I told them absolutely everything. The police were very interested to hear this about a hat and put me on hold while the police officer I was speaking to went to discuss something with her superior. When I get taken off hold, I am talking to a more senior officer now. He wants me to reiterate the story, which I do. He says someone will call me back. Okay, I think. I get a call back not longer and they ask if needed. Would I sign a statement to what I had said? Of course I agree. I go down to my local police station to sign said statement, re what I have told police. There is now an arrest warrant out for a hat for a multitude of reasons. Seems there was more on his police file that I wasn't aware of, and I was told that under no circumstances would a hat be getting my brother, when he is found, or any of my other siblings back in his care. Not the juiciest of entitled parents on here. But I did maliciously comply with my antagonist ex-stepfather's request of calling the police if I knew anything, and now he won't be able to hurt my family anymore, so that's worth smiling over. It's been a slow burn to see any kind of justice come to this evil. Entitled, crappy human. But my patience eventually paid off. If you got this far. Thanks for reading, smiley face. Update/clarification to the original post. 1. I am from Australia, which might clarify some confusion. Our police system works a little differently down here, where we can go to our local police station regardless that we are in a different state, as once the job number has been created it can be accessed and also actioned upon on a federal level, accessed across the entire country. 2. The police have reason to believe. However, they aren't able to disclose the exact reason why they believe this. That brother is safe and fine, and have said as much to be. But again have not elaborated on this. I believe that brother and a hat probably had a triggering event transpire and brother ran away and has gone underground/hiding. He has done this before, however it never reached a police level. There were some comments saying that it was strange that I was on Reddit posting about the incident while my brother is missing. And I can understand where they're coming from, however, being states away from brother. Specifically on an island state. And with COVID restrictions I am unable to get to his state. So for now I have done everything I can from where I am. I also have contacted and disclosed everything to child safety, which I have done so many times before. This is the most I can do from where I am. Unfortunately. 3. My sister. The oldest of the 3 that lives with me full time has made contact via social media with brother today. Brother was very vague and secretive to sister and was not willing to disclose where he was, which I can understand. We have all experienced the lengths of a hat's secretive nature can be at times, so by not telling us anything he knows a hat can't manipulate/intimidate/threaten us to get any information out of us if we don't know anything. I can confirm that it was most definitely our brother, as he used a safe word we have between us 4 siblings, as a hat would often take our phones. So we would always use the safe word so we would actually know it was our sibling we were talking to. Not potentially a hat. The same goes for dangerous situations. If we ever needed assistance we would say the safe word for help as to not alert anyone we were asking for help. Very good idea for anyone else experiencing a similar experience. 4. No word on location/outcome of a hat. As he is no longer a direct family member I am not going to be informed until it is public knowledge, I imagine. The officer did say that she would contact me if there was anything else I did need to know, however. It may be a bit of time until we hear any outcome for a hat. In the 19 years I have known him he has almost always managed to wiggle his way out of any repercussions of his actions. So I am not holding my breath that this time will be any different. But I still have hope. It's better than resentment and negativity. 5. I just received another text from a hat saying, "Obviously no concern of yours, hey, big sis. Thanks for caring. Only 4. Yourself." I haven't replied to his original text and won't reply to this one either. This text has rattled me just like the first one. No matter how far you physically remove yourself from the person who has traumatized you, it can very quickly come straight back to take you back to feeling like it's happening all over again. Deep breaths and keep on. And lastly, I have been so blown away by everyone's support. Nothing like this has ever happened to me, with so much support and kind words from so many people. It has been so amazing. Humbling and beautiful that people have taken the time to wish me and my family well wishes and love and strength. It's people like all of you that give me hope and motivation to not harbor anger towards people and the world for the crappy situations I have gone through in my life, because there is so much good out there. Thank you so much. Comment by Blaine Moore. Good on you. Hope your brother is found safe and a hat didn't do something to him and only called you to start building an alibi. Comment by Stellar Manatee. I'm in awe of your bravery. It's not easy to come from such an abusive step-parent. To work and live your life at such a young age and still manage to be there for your siblings. An absolute standing ovation for telling the police everything you knew, as your antagonist ex-stepfather requested. All the best to you. Comment by a deleted user. Has he been arrested? Our next story is from the same user. I fool my stepfather to admit wrongs against me. Mom divorces him after he attacks me. This happened when I was 15. If there is a more appropriate sub for this, please let me know. My mom and dad divorced when I was 9. Soon after, my mom married my stepfather. Summers and every other Christmas were spent out of state with my dad. The rest of the time I was with my mom. They did not have the nicest of splits in divorce. But both insisted, and kept to it, that they would not interfere with my younger brother and I, relationship with the other parent. My stepfather did not agree to this, however, and did everything he could to sabotage our relationship with our father. My dad would call, and if my stepfather answered the phone, he would hang up on dad. He called my dad to demand more child support or he would legally adopt us and my dad would never see us again. I had no real friends growing up because I did not want to bring people home. One day, while visiting my dad, we ordered some custom leather jackets to arrive about a month later. It came and I found the box on the dining room table with "Return to sender" written on it as if he had meant to send it back later. I grabbed it, stashed it in my room, and thankfully he forgot all about it. That night after dinner, as everyone was on the couch watching the evening news, I brought the package out, gave it to Mom, and asked her to explain why it was being sent back. My stepdad began to say that we couldn't afford it, to which I said everything had already been paid for. And why did he hang up on Dad when Dad called, and I said Dad had recordings of the threats to adopt us and prevent Dad from ever seeing us again. My stepfather began spinning a tale about how he just wanted us all to be one big family and he knew how my mom didn't like my dad. And he did everything for the sake of the family. Then he caught me smiling, stopped, and asked me, "What the heck is so funny?" I said, "Dad has no recordings. But why does he need them when you just admitted to everything?" He said something unintelligible and jumped off the couch to lunge at me until my mom stopped him by getting in between us. Mom simply said, "Out," and he walked to the front door and let himself out. After we heard him drive away, Mom asked for the details about everything and apologized for bringing him into our lives. The next morning, I was walking to the bus for school, when my stepfather quickly pulled up near me and stopped. Then got out of the car and started walking towards me. I screamed like I've never screamed before or since. He got up to me, slapped me across the face, grabbed my shirt, and started walking me to his car. I didn't go peacefully, though, screaming and resisting the whole way. That's when my savior appeared. An older gentleman had seen everything and came out of his house with quite possibly the largest hand cannon I have ever seen outside of the movies. He just saw an older man dragging a screaming teen girl to his car. He told my stepdad to stop, pointed his gun at him, and got him to kneel down with his ankles crossed and to intertwine his fingers behind his head. So I believe he was former military. Isn't that how you are taught to take prisoners? I don't know for sure. His wife had also seen everything and called the police. Then came out and began soothing me. When the police arrived, 2 cars. 4 officers in total. My savior put his gun down and raised his hands to show the police he meant no harm to them. That he was not a threat. His wife said that she was the one who called and said that she and her husband had seen a man pull up, grab a young girl, and began dragging her to his car when they decided to interfere for my safety. I then confirmed the story, but did not mention he was my stepfather. The police asked for IDs and noted that my student ID, all I had at the time, had a different last name and had no sign of the name my stepfather was calling me. At the time, I went by my middle name. But my student ID had my actual first name. And I had kept my original last name. So it was different than his. Despite his attempt to claim he was my father and was just disciplining me for something. He was handcuffed and taken away in one of the cars. While the other car drove me to school, I had missed the bus by this time. Where the officer went in and told the attendance office lady that I had been the victim of an attempted kidnapping and that's why I was late. He later showed up after school to give me a ride home and stayed in the house with me until my mom got off work and came home. My brother, who was unaware of my day's adventures, came home and me, my brother, and the officer played video games until my mom got home. My mom and stepfather later divorced. When I was at school a couple of days later, my stepfather came by the house with a police escort and my mom's supervision and got his personal stuff. My mom was later able to get a restraining order against him for herself. Me and my brother haven't heard from my former stepfather since. My brother still lives with his family in our hometown and saw that my savior had just passed away and decided to tell me. And he told me to put my story here. I have never posted here before. So sorry if I have done something wrong. I know you're not supposed to glorify violence here. But I don't know how to tell the story without it. Comment by Space Cadet 1956. The method you described the old man using to subdue your stepfather is typical police restraining tactics. The guy was probably a retired cop. Lucky for you he was nearby. Comment by Strab 118. Comment by Nikki's 84. Our next story is from the same user. Entitled Mom wants me to let her brats put their hands in my food. My husband and I went out for a quiet dinner on Saturday night. We were sitting at our table when two women with 3 kids sat at a table near us. 2 of the kids, boys, looked around 4 to 5 while the older girl looked around 12 and was in her phone most of the time. The other 2 soon started running rampant in the restaurant while their moms sipped cocktails unbothered. One of the boys approaches our table with his hands out and I can tell he's gonna try and touch my food. I lift my plate up and say no. Please don't touch it. Kid just laughs at me and leaves to run another lap around the room. I see the mother/s watch this happening but pretending to not be aware. My husband is not looking too pleased at this point because he predicts a repeat and that's exactly what happens. The kid tries his food and he does the same I did. Kid then turns to my plate again and this time I swatted his hand away, lightly and not at all forcefully. Kid starts crying because I wouldn't let him touch my food. Entitled Mom, now suddenly all concerned. That was so mean. He's not doing anything wrong me. Excuse me but I don't want anyone else's hands in my food. He's just a kid, it's not a big deal. Me. Not mine. Thank you. So I'm not interested in having him touch my food. Please mind your children. At this point she's about to say something more but the server tactfully brought their food and engaged them in conversation. Entitled Mom and other lady kept looking daggers at me all along. P.S. I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you all for the awards and sorry if I'm not able to reply to everyone. Comment by Really Short One. Wonder what would have happened had you walked over and fondled her fettuccine. Comment by Megara the Mean. Ugh, that's so gross. These are the same type of people that go shopping with their kids and let them tear up the place because people are paid to clean it up. Garbage humans. Comment by Laura's Diary. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to our Devil. See you in the next one.